Old one here yesterday. Can he do it again? He might.
When I think about the fundamentals of putting, I really go back to the fundamentals of the golf swing. You first start with the grip. Now in putting, it's a little bit different. There are all sorts of different types of grips. There's one grip I think is a very good grip to have, and that's the Bobby Locke grip. Bobby Locke was the great South African player who many players think was the greatest putter who ever played the game. He thought that the thumbs should go straight down the top of the shaft in the grip. Now, I use what's called a reverse overlap. Instead of having your normal grip like this with the little finger around here, I put the little finger on the club with the right hand and overlap it with the forefinger of the left hand. This gives me a better connection with both hands on the golf club. The second thing about the grip is your grip pressure. How much pressure should you have? Well, like the normal grip for a shot, I feel that the last three fingers of the left hand grip onto the club a little bit tighter. That means that when you have the putter in your left hand, that you're able to take the putter back with the last three fingers of the left hand guiding the putter back. The right hand is on there very consistently with the other fingers of the left hand. So you don't have much difference in any pressure of any finger in your hand. All right, now let's make a few practice strokes. What we're trying to determine here is where is the bottom of the arc of the putter when we make a stroke. Take the putter back with the last three fingers of the left hand, follow through, back, through, back, through. You determine where the exact bottom of the stroke is right there. So the bottom of the arc is about right here, and then I like to place the ball just about a half an inch in front of that. Now where do you place the shaft in relationship to your hands? You don't want to get your hands forward like this, and you don't want to get your hands back like this. You want the putter head basically to just hang down. Hang it down a little bit farther forward of the middle of the arc. Now I believe your eyes should be directly over the ball or somewhere on the ball line. It can be slightly back of the ball, but they have to be on the ball line. To do that, just put your club and hang it straight down, and that's where you can determine how far you should be. That ball is inside my eye line, and that ball is outside my eye line. I like still to have it right on the eye line. Now let's talk about how you aim a putt. You start from behind the ball, as most people do, and you look for any type of break. And this particular putt has a downhill left to right break to it. It's probably the right-handed golfer's least favorite putt. Now I'm going to pick a point left to the hole where I'm going to aim. That's one way of aiming it. Another way of aiming it is the Dave Stockton method, which is to pick a point about 2 or 3 inches in front of the ball, right on that perfect line, which is right to the left of the hole here. There's two ways of doing it. I look at the hole and aim my putter at the hole. Dave Stockton takes it and aims it at a point right here. Then he looks up and he's on the line. Now that you've decided how much break you want to play in this putt, let's talk about the actual putt itself. When you step up to the ball here, my father said when I was a kid, listen for the ball go in the hole. You make the stroke and listen for it to go in the hole. Did it go in? Yes, it did. Now, you may have seen another famous golfer of recent fame do the same thing. He also has the initials TW. Tiger Woods. You will notice when Tiger makes his stroke, he looks for at least a count of 2 before he looks up after he hits the ball. And that's usually the result of a Tiger Woods putt. Another key fundamental of the putting stroke, which I think all good putters have, is an acceleration into the ball. It's not a jerky acceleration, but it's definitely acceleration. What that means is that the backswing stops and you go through a little faster than the backswing. You want to make sure that the putter head does not go back farther and come through and stop. That means that you're slowing the putter down and the club can twist this way coming down into the ball. If you're accelerating through back and going through faster than your backswing, you will keep the putter head on line a lot easier. Now let's see if that works in practice. Now let's talk a little bit about speed. You can either just dive the ball in this hole, or you can hit the ball in with some speed. If you hit the ball in with some speed, you have less break. The problem is on a downhill left to right putt like this, you're going to be left with a 3, 4, maybe a 6 footer if you hit it and you miss the hole. So if you're just trying to dive the ball in, you have to play more break. In fact, I can take a ball, put it in front of the hole here, and still make this putt when that ball is right in front of the hole, just by good speed. I'm going to play well left of the hole here and just try to hit it and dive it in. Now let's talk about practicing putting. I've been putting a downhill left to right putt. It's very fast. Now when you're practicing putting before a round of golf or before a competitive round of golf, make sure you do what I do. I usually take a 20 to 30 foot putt and I practice it downhill, then I putt back to the same cup, back uphill. Downhill, uphill. I do it 4 or 5 times to get a good feel for the speed of the greens. That's essential. You want distance control with your putting, and that'll give you a sense of good feel for the greens that day. Here's a drill that I've used all my life, and I think it's the best drill there is to practice consistent strokes in your putting. You lay 3 clubs down. You want to make a track, like a railroad track, with these 2 clubs right here, and they have to be on your ball line, where you want the ball to start out on. And this is a left to right putt. Then this club should be your toe line, something that you can use as a reference for where your feet are. The key here is that these 2 clubs that form the track are going to really help you develop a stroke which is very consistently back and forth along your aim line. Back, forth. While we have these clubs here on the track, let's talk about your eye line. I believe that your eyes, both eyes, should be parallel to all these clubs right here. Your eyes should not be tilted back over here looking out this way, or tilted in like this looking in this way. You can't get a very good look at your line when you have your eyes off the ball line like this. So what you do, you take the club up, you put it over both eyes like this, and you'll be able to see whether you're parallel to that or not. It blocks it out. If you're a little bit skewed like this, you'll see that you're skewed, or you're skewed this way. Make sure that you're not, you're parallel to it. That's very, very critical. Make sure that you're consistent in lining up the putt and also stroking the putt, because wherever your eyes are going, the club's going to follow those eyes, most likely. So make sure you have your eyes on the eye line. That's the way to do it. Now let's finally talk about how do you make a putt under pressure. Everybody's had that putt that they've had to have under pressure.
At 8, Tom Watson. This to save par. Big putt, Peter.
Big putt, Tom.
Well, the first thing I think about basically is a psychological thing, and that is don't be afraid of failure. If you hit the putt and you don't make it, that's only one of two things that can happen. If you hit the putt like that and you don't make it, you've given it your best try. Number two, you've practiced a lot. You've created a routine. You know what you're doing. The most important thing is don't forget your rhythm. What happens when we miss putts under pressure is our rhythm gets too fast. So make sure when you're in the position where you have to make a putt, make sure in your practice strokes you think about rhythm. Then step into the ball and just repeat that rhythm. The third thing you think about is sometimes we are unsure of the line. We're not positive that we have a good feel for how the ball is going to break. Now when that occurs, you use a very simple method. You commit to whatever line you think is the line and you stick with it. You don't want to be up over the putt thinking, well, is it more break? Is it less break? You think, I'm going to commit to this line, and you go back to the first point. Don't be afraid of failure. You take the commitment and you hit it right at the place where you think you're trying to hit it. And as a final thought about pressure putting, I refer back to my dad. I think he was one of the best pressure putters I ever saw. In his mind, when you're under pressure, you have to make the putt, you do two things. First of all, you hit the ball right in the middle of the putter. And second of all, you keep your head still and you listen for the ball to go in the hole, a la Tiger Woods. Chances are you're going to make it. Here we have a setup to determine how much a putt actually breaks with the wind. We've set up these wind machines and we've actually have a device that's measured this close to 26, 27 miles an hour of crosswind that we have here. Now here we have a straight putt. It's a fast putt downhill and it's straight. It reminds me of putting in the wind at the British Open.
Tom Watson now for his par to stay in a share of the lead. Get in there, Tom. How about that? My goodness, hasn't the putter worked well over the last few days? A couple of bombs yesterday afternoon.
Now I'm going to putt this putt first, show you that it's a straight putt. Now we're going to turn the fans on and see what happens to that putt. It breaks offline a lot, doesn't it? Now, you can play this putt and play it aggressively by taking the break out by hitting it harder. Like that. But if you should miss it on a downhill putt like this, now look what you have left. To play this putt with the proper speed, I'm going to aim it right there. That's how much break you have to play in a crosswind. Now, one of the things I do when I'm putting in the wind is a tip that I learned from George Archer. Instead of having a normal width position with your feet like this, widen your feet a little bit and then bow your legs out like this. This will help you stay very, very still with your lower body so that your upper body won't be moving quite as much. What happens in the wind is that it buffets us all the time and we're always shaking like this. By moving your legs out like this, you can establish a firmer foundation and stay more still over the ball. Widen the stance, bow the legs. Success. Now we've moved back from a 3-foot putt to a 6-foot putt. This again is a straight putt. Let's see if I can make it. All right, boys, turn on the fans. And don't forget, we have a 26-mile-an-hour crosswind right here. We have a fast, straight braking downhill putt. But with the wind 26 miles an hour across, we're going to have to play a lot more brake. And remember the 3-foot putt, I had to play that much brake. With this 6-foot putt, I'm going to have to play out to there. Ooh, still just barely lipped in. But now you see the effect on a 6-foot putt. I had to play 12 inches of brake with a 26-mile-an-hour crosswind on a 6-foot straight downhill putt. Widen your feet a little bit and then bow your legs out. By moving your legs out, you can establish a firmer foundation and stay more still over the ball. But with the wind 26 miles an hour across, we're going to have to play a lot more brake.